All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Week number 16, Monday Night Football. We got the Packers taking on the Saints. No, it's not exactly the sexiest matchup that we have, on the board this week or anything like that. But nonetheless, we're still going to dive into this game. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about a couple player prop spots that I'm liking in this game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to my final plays absolutely free if you are interested in what I'm actually rolling with myself. So far, Sunday, we're recording this on Sunday. NFL Sunday's looking pretty good so far to us. Anything can happen. We'll knock on wood, but so far, so good. Hopefully, we can kind of take some of that momentum that we've had for a while now and bring it in this game because this is such a weird game. We're probably going to need it. We got the Packers taking on the Saints. Packers 14-point favorites. Total sitting at 42.5. Packers come into this one 10-4 so far this year. 5-2 at home against the number 8-6, so a positive against the number team as well. New Orleans, obviously, they've had their woes, their injury woes. Injury woes being a thing, but the up and down season, mostly downs. 5-9 so far. At the beginning of the year, we thought this team was going to be legit too, which is crazy, right? Then all of a sudden, Carr, the offensive line, everyone gets injured. Kind of tough. But against the number 6-8 this year, and just 2-4 on the road. We mentioned injuries. There are a couple to note here. Alvin Kamara listed as out. Marquez Valdes-Scantling listed as questionable. On the Green Bay side of things, they do have a few defensive injuries, opposite of that, to watch here. No Quay Walker, no Bullard. Then we have Jair Alexander and Evan Williams listed as questionable. So a couple injuries that are already listed as outs, and a couple that are listed as questionable. And I guess before we do get into the side and the total and whatnot, I'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention the weather here. In Green Bay, at Lambeau Field here, we're going to see some below freezing temperatures. You can see on that little chart there, by the time we get to game time, it'll be about 30 degrees, and then it's just going down and down from there. And we're expecting some snow. So, yeah. Keep that in mind when you're looking at your spots for some player prop overs and that type of thing. This could be a really, really messy weather game, which at this point in the year is no shocker to be talking about Lambeau Field like that, right? But let's dive into this one. I want to talk about the defenses as well as how the quarterbacks kind of fit those defenses and how we expect them to play. We could start it off with Spencer Rattler. He is getting the start here, at least listed as a starter for the Saints. You can see my nice drawings on the side here of what I kind of wanted to focus on. So this is a Green Bay team that blitzes well, I guess they don't necessarily blitz a lot, but they pressure the quarterback a lot, and they get to the quarterback a lot. They sack the quarterback and, just pressure. So I guess we don't have to focus too much on the blitz because it's more so just normal fronts, defensive fronts and whatnot that are getting to the QB. But so let's focus on that pressure. So this is season overall for Spencer Rattler. Obviously, he's played some games, hasn't played, but you can see that first column against the pressure. He goes lower statistically than he already is, which is not a good look. And we see Green Bay playing by far and away the most zone out of any team in the last 4 weeks. His numbers against the zone don't look all that tremendous either. I will give him the credit that his completion percentage marginally goes up, right? Like less than a percentage or just over a percentage. His accuracy percentage does go up 4%. His EPA goes up, his DVA go up, but those are still both negative numbers. So overall, I don't expect this to be, and I don't know if there's anybody in America that expects this to be a great Spencer Rattler game or a great Spencer Rattler matchup, right? Now, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, this Saints defense has been pretty meh and not all that great. Jordan Love could tear them up, right? I wouldn't jump to that, not so fast here. So we have this broken out, Jordan Love versus the pressure versus the blitz and versus the man. I did leave my artistic abilities with those red lines off of this one. But one thing I'll say is that I talked about Green Bay, getting to the quarterback and pressuring and sacking. New Orleans, last 4 weeks here, 7th most pressures, 4th most sacks. So, yeah, they should get to the quarterback. And you can see Jordan Love's numbers drastically drop against the pressure. So I don't think that he's in the best of situations here. Now, are we really going to sit here and be like, oh my God, this New Orleans team's going to get him and crush him and all that? I don't want to go too far and be like, that's a plus for them. All I'm trying to note is that I don't think it's the most ideal spot for Jordan Love, okay? So don't take this as like a spot in which it's oh my God, Jordan Love's going to struggle. That offensive line's going to get beat up. No, this offensive line's been pretty good this year. 2nd fewest sacks, 6th fewest QB hits, and 11th fewest QB hurries. So they should still hold up, but I'm just saying if that pressure gets there, it's not exactly the best spot for Jordan Love, right? And then they're going to play a lot of man coverage. 5th most man coverage in terms of, man coverage rate percentage of plays over the last 4 weeks. Jordan Love, Honestly, the only redeeming quality is that his DVOA percentage goes up against man, and his turnover-worthy throws, he hasn't had any of those in the last 4 weeks against man. Completion percentage drops, yards per attempt drops, success rate, accuracy rate, EPA all drop pretty noticeably. So again, this is not to say Jordan Love's going to stink it up or anything like that. I'm just kind of naysaying the idea that Jordan Love can torch this defense himself. Mix that with the weather, and again, I don't necessarily think that this is an ideal situation for him. And I already mentioned, not necessarily Spencer Rattler. So I think the first thing I'd look at here is the potential look at the under. Like I said, we have some 42.5s hanging out there. I've seen 42s. I've even seen 141.5. Who knows where this will be as we, as this progresses and the weather becomes more and more known out there. So I'm going to lean towards the under. I almost wanted to just, call it quits and say, give me a New Orleans Saints under. But then I did find that out about Jordan Love, that I don't think this is going to be like the match made in heaven for him, right? And right now, you can even look at a Packers team total. We can go Packers team total under 30.5 for -155. Like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to fade the way better team here. Obviously, 14-point favorites, but that might be the move. Like, they have to go out there and score 31 points in the snow. Obviously, this offense is really good. Last 4 weeks, they've gone 30+ in all of those, but this weather could be trouble, I guess. So that's a thought, okay? Make sure to keep an eye on the final plays on the site to see if we end up rolling with that. But I like the under as well as a potential Packers team total under. And it's not necessarily saying that the Saints are going to play well. It's that I don't think it's an ideal spot for the Packers. But let's talk about the side here. I really haven't invested too much time into this. It's 14 points. Yes, I think the Packers are the better team. But if I really had a you-know-what to my head, I'd probably say 14 points is too much. That does not get me to the Saints side. This is one of those weird ones where I'm like, I don't know if 14's enough to give the Saints, though, against a really good Packers team, but I just can't be laying 14 out here with a Packers team that I'm already kind of in my own head that Jordan Love may not be, in the most ideal situation. So if you're looking for a side pick, yes, the Packers are the way better team. If this was a different number, maybe I'd look at that, but I think I have to sound the psycho alert alarm. I think I have to lean Saints plus 14 because I think this could be a sloppy game. I know it's crazy. I don't think that I get there myself. Like, it's one thing to say it and say that I lean it in the video. It's one thing to put my cojones on the table and bet it, right? I don't think we get there. I don't think that we have the cojones to pull the trigger on it. And I'd much rather, Green Bay team total under before that in a sense too. Now, before we do get into player props, and again, pretty light in this game. Like, this is not the creme de la creme. We're forcing everything in here. But before we do get into the player props, I want to shout out Underdog. Guys, you have not tried out Underdog. Even though I said this is not the most ideal Jordan Love spot, they still got a free pick for us. 0.5 total yards. You can get this with the link in the description, as well as the pinned comment, whichever is easiest for you. Sign up for Underdog. You can deposit and get up to $1,000 in a deposit bonus as well, and you get this free square. Go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below. But like I said, a couple player props that I'm, I guess, looking at in a sense. One, because of the weather and because of how I see this game going, I don't mind a Josh Jacobs look. Now, his line's pretty inflated, so I think that the books have beat us to this one. I don't mind his yards. I don't mind his over and rush attempts either. This is obviously a spot in which if it is, rainy, snowy, cold, kind of like hard-nosed football, they're going to rely on the running back. And even if we look at, on the season, right, go to 2024 here, on the season, you can see it's his backfield, right? Like, yeah, Emmanuel Wilson's gotten a few carries, but look at this, 265 carries to 72. He's getting 62% of the carries, 60% of the red zone carries. So, yeah, I think that Josh Jacobs could be, I don't know how we could play it because, again, 21, 22 carries is asking a lot, so maybe if we can look at some alternate lines or something like that, where we go? We're losing our place here. If we look at, like, rush attempts, and we get it down to maybe, like, I don't know, 17, and I guess, yeah, we can't even really get in many alternate lines right now. Maybe 20 plus. You could go Packers money line on the other side of things and get somewhat of a decent odds. I'm not sure. I mean, to me, it is a messy game, but I think they're going to rely on the running backs overall. I also kicked around the idea of first half touchdowns. Let's see if we can find that. First half touchdowns for him was actually decent at plus 105. This is him on the year. 4 straight games of, first half touchdowns. You can see it here with the Outlier Insights. By the way, you guys want access to this tool, 7-day free trial in the description down below. But this could be a look. I was like, oh man, Josh Jacobs touchdown, obvious, right? Look at this, minus 250. Like, what are we doing here? Yes, it's because he's been absolutely tearing it up. His last 5 weeks, he's averaging 1.8 touchdown, 1-3-1-3-1. Maybe it's a spot in which we go, okay, well, screw it. Let's go over 1.5 touchdowns for him for plus 195. Maybe that's something to consider, but now we're talking crazy numbers, right? I'm only thinking with the combination of, okay, well, Jordan Love, obviously not the best spot for him, the weather, this bad-ish Saints defense. Like, if we look at the Saints defense on the season, they're allowing the 4th most rushing yards per game over the last 3 weeks, the 6th most rushing yards per game. So it's like, yeah, Josh Jacobs should get the workload. You get the weather, you get the defense, and you have the fact that Jordan Love may not be in the best position. It screams Josh Jacobs. It's unfortunate the lines and the odds are so juiced and so high. Another player prop that I guess I'm considering would be right here. Foster Moreau over 19.5 receiving yards. Last 2 weeks, you can see 40 against the Giants, 39 against Washington on the season. He's done all right, averaging over this number. Has he hit this? No, but there's some games he's not even getting targets in, you know what I mean? But the last few weeks, 4, 2, and 4 targets. So, yeah, maybe taking a peek at him. And you saw him get some decent red zone looks last week as well. In fact, can we look at that? Red zone target share. Let's see if we go to touchdowns. Maybe we could find that in outlier here. Red zone target share. Yeah, look at this. He had 2 targets in the red zone last week. They only had 4 targets overall. So he definitely got a little bit of a workload. I don't mind him over 2.5 receptions for plus 140. Green Bay, in terms of receiving yards, let's start with where we're at 19.5, 18th in terms of receiving yards allowed, right? Against tight ends, this thing jumps to 27th. Maybe Foster Moreau at a low number for receptions, yards. Do I dare say touchdown at plus 813? That's the type of spot that I don't mind. I mean, you have Rattler who clearly likes him, right? So that's another spot I'd look at. But again, guys, I say a lot of this with a smirk on my face, and I know we'll get comments being like, this is dumb. Like, you're saying you don't care. It's like, yeah, there are games that we aren't all that confident in. And I tell you guys all the time, I don't want to fake the confidence for the content. This is one of those games where it's like, your guess is as good as mine. Yes, I have the camera and the microphone and the graphics and all that, but I'm just trying to provide information that maybe you guys can use. This is not a game where I'm sitting here staking my claim, being like, I love this spot, absolutely. You know what I mean? We have plenty of those on the channel where we love a spot, and I'm almost trying to convince someone to roll with me, right? This game ain't it. Even if the Packers lose this game, they're still gonna make the playoffs. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a weird one, but overall, that's what I got for you guys. If you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment 12 and let me know what you're rolling with. I'm actually asking that. I'm not just saying that like a lot of people being like, let me know your favorite plays in the comments. No, you guys know I interact in the comments and like to read them. I want to know what people are going with. What are the angles of attack in this game? Because based on everything I gave you, that's what I got, right? I emptied the clip. I don't know exactly what else is out there. So let me know in the comments what you guys are rolling with. That's all I have for you in this one. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.